Hey YouTube, this is Alice at Wonderland Speaks, and I am bringing you my Ozempic update. I realize it's been a really long time, but I felt it was time for me to give you guys some numbers so you can see. I do recall I mentioned in a prior video that the closer that I would get to my goal, my videos would become more and more spread out. I wouldn't, because once I started this process, I knew that I would not be uh, documenting every week, every couple of weeks, or not even every month, because I recognized that the process was slow, so there would be no need. Um, so I also wondered what it was, what could I touch on so that you guys who are just coming into this, or who maybe have been in this for a while and possibly aren't seeing the results that you feel you should be seeing, um, maybe I can help with that. I hope I can. I also hope that you'll go back and look at some of my prior videos so that you can have a better idea of how it is I came to reach the results that I did. I have lost a total of 100 pounds. I started at 235, and not that that is my highest weight, but when I started Ozempic, that's where I was. As I have mentioned in a prior video, I, more than 20 years ago, had gastric bypass. Not the sleeve, I had bypass. And I was successful at it, but I hated it. I didn't like anything about the process. Of course, I didn't like the surgery. I didn't like how difficult it was for me to find or get the information that I needed so that I was comfortable. And that's not to say that the doctor that performed the surgery wasn't forthcoming. It's just that I didn't even know what questions to ask. Not really. I didn't know anything about it. It's nothing like it is today. I didn't have YouTube. I didn't have Google. I just, all I know is my weight is something I've battled my entire life, as long as I can remember, and I've done absolutely everything. That's one of the questions when you go into a doctor's office. Now they're called bariatric doctors. That's one of the questions that's on the form. They want to know, give some examples, or actually they have like a checklist of different things that maybe you've tried. I've tried them all. I literally, well, no. There's one I never did, and that was getting my mouth wired shut. I never did that. But anything that has to do with pills, shots, and I don't mean these shots. They were, back then, they called them B12 shots. And like I said, various medications. Back in the 70s, I believe, they were called Black Beauties because they were they were a black capsule. Small, it wasn't a big pill, but you take one a day. Now, we certainly know a lot better now about things like that. But I did it. I did it. Always looking for a way to lose weight. Now, am I saying that I have never been able to be successful? No, I'm not. I recognize, and I have always recognized, that this process is a tool. This is not the final end all. This is going to be it. I have solved my problem. No, as suggested, I've done everything I've been told to do and some more. I recognize it was very important for me to, this was do or die. And it always is when I go into this process. I do everything. Do I starve myself? No, not at all. Not at all. I will say bariatric though, you really do starve yourself. Um, you are so restricted that that's why I made the comment. I hated it, because I did. I didn't like that the only way that I could lose weight is to starve myself. I knew that was not healthy. But the moral of the story is I did do it. And I think when I went into that, I was like 310, 315 pounds, 315 pounds. And of course, at that time, that was my highest weight. And at the end of bariatric surgery, gastric bypass, I got down to 145. The timeline was, it was less than a year. It was less than a year. So that's why it's a little puzzling to me when I hear people talk about Ozempic and they say things like this is the easy way out and that you lose the weight fast, and that couldn't be further from the truth. It's now been, I started this process in May of 22. So now in May of this year, it'll be 2 years. Now to me, that's not fast. Not by any stretch is that fast. I didn't lose this weight fast. I want to say I was in total control, but of course I was not, because these shots do affect your metabolism, your everything, so much so that you don't even think about food. You don't want to eat. You're not craving. All those things that you would normally have, didn't have any of that. Oftentimes I didn't even realize that I hadn't even eaten. I didn't come in. Years ago, when I had the surgery, one of the things they told you, and a lot of other programs do it as well, they tell you to go home and clean out your cabinets and anywhere you might have food stash. You want to go home and clean all that out, you got to throw it away. And I did it. I did everything I was told. And Ozempic is totally opposite for me. Now, I know people who have went through this process, but I knew right away they would not be successful. I knew they would. I didn't tell them that, but I knew. Based on, just based on their behavior, based on the fact that they thought that this was going to fix everything, this was going to solve all their problems, I didn't say a word. I just felt like, and I still feel like, Ozempic has been a lifesaver for me. It truly has been a lifesaver, because I initially, I would say the first 6-8 months, I was losing between 5 and 8 pounds a month. And I was ecstatic, because prior to that, I wasn't losing 2 pounds a month, let alone 8. So I just thought, oh my God. And then the months would go by, I was maintaining and I was continuing to lose. And at that point, my attitude was, as long as I lose anything, even if it was, because see, one of the things, well, there are many things that were different, but with the surgery, they gave you a timeline as to when you would reach your goals. As long as you did everything that you were instructed to do, you would lose 100 pounds or 200 pounds in a very short period of time, in less than a year. Uh, as I mentioned before, when I came home from the hospital after having surgery, and I was in the hospital for a week, one whole week, and the whole time I was there, they had all these tubes hooked up to me, and I was being fed through a tube. As a matter of fact, when I came home, they had a rubber hose that was sticking out of my stomach on the side. So in addition to me being cut here, I was also cut over here. And I asked the question, why were they leaving this? Because I was getting ready to go home. Why was this tube being left in? And they explained that in case they would have to go back in, they would go in that way. And I thought, why would you have to go back in? I didn't say it. Uh, I wasn't back then. I wasn't the person I am now. I didn't speak up then like I do now. So, as I said, bypass is the most evasive way of dealing with weight management. And as it has been proven, it doesn't solve the problem at all. At all. The relationship that you have developed with food, which starts when you're a child, that is something that I had to learn and continue to learn, will always be learning and changing and adjusting, doing whatever is necessary. I get on the scale. I have gotten on the scale and only lost 2 pounds, only lost a pound. But as I said, I've lost 100 pounds. So what I've seen on the scale now, my lowest weight has been 130 now. I've said this to other people recently. I've never been that size in my entire life, ever. Not at any age have I ever been that size. So for me, at 68 years old, to see that number on the scale, if I'm being totally honest, it's a little frightening. It's scary. It's not because something's wrong, but because that's something I never thought I'd see. I never thought I'd see that. I never gave up, but I never thought I'd see it. But here I am. I get on the scales on Fridays. That's when I do my shot, on Fridays. So now when I was in the thick of it, and that means the first 6 months of it, I would get on the scale twice a week. You don't really want to get on the scale every day. It's not emotionally healthy for you to do that. But what I will say is very important for you to monitor your intake, as far as, say you eat something and you're not really sure about it, but you eat it anyway. And so when you get on the scale the next morning, and when I weigh, I have on absolutely nothing. For me, that's a way for me to monitor if I ate something I shouldn't have. If I get on the scale and I have gained weight, because I know what I ate, I know, okay, I shouldn't have ate that. Do I regret eating it? No, I don't regret it. Oh, excuse me. The takeaway from that is recognizing that is part of the process. We don't have the answers. Nobody does. But the thing to remember about this is the fact that insurance will pay for this. What does that mean? That means that these manufacturers have petitioned their case to the federal government, and they've given them the numbers that say This is better than an invasive surgery that could kill you when you're on the table and you still may not be successful at it. They've proven that Ozempic, you can lose more weight with Ozempic. And I'm setting aside all these people, these celebrities who are doing this. That's not who we are. And we're getting a bad rep because of it. Am I saying they're responsible for all the attitude that's out there? Because the thought is the only people that are supposed to be using this drug is diabetics. I totally disagree. Because if you can show me any pill that's on the market that only does one thing, please leave your comments. And I would welcome that. I want you to comment down there any drug that's on the market right now or anytime that only does one thing. It doesn't exist. So the idea that diabetics feel like nobody else should take this drug is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. You really think the federal government would have approved this drug? Come on. They recognize that this is better than the surgery. This is much better in so many ways. What I will say is my most recent red flag. I had labs done a couple of weeks because I've got a doctor's appointment on Monday with my rheumatologist. All my doctors require labs. And I'm thankful for that. Why? Because it forced me to pay attention. If you go online and register, the results can be sent to you too. Now, I've heard a lot of people say, well, I don't know what I'm looking at. They're numbers. And it'll show you right there if the number is low or high or in the middle, which is considered normal. Not only that, it will also show you on the left-hand side where your range should be. In other words, I'll just use a hypothetical number, 25 to 50. It'll show you what your numbers should be if they're not there. They'll show you what normal is. So it's very important to want to see, to want to know. So when I go to Quest Lab and they draw blood and they send the results to me, I look at them. I compare them to the last time to see where I'm at. The one thing that is coming up for me now is glucose. I've never had a problem with that. Ever. 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 What does that mean? What does that mean? It's sort of like me having problems with blood pressure. That's something in the past 2-3 years. There's been issues with regulating my blood pressure. It's been low. Same thing with this. It's been low. Same thing with my white cell count, which has to do with lupus. I have lupus. My cell count is extremely low. But what we have learned, when I say we, I mean myself and the medical community, what we've learned is based on your race, that has everything to do with your numbers. Because we all have a different makeup. And because of that, our numbers are going to be different. So my numbers, for all intents and purposes, are normal. But it doesn't read normal. Why? Because the medical community, everything that they do is based on what is normal for, in other words, their standard is based on white people. what their numbers are. That's what it's based on. So everybody else, Black, Spanish, Oriental, Japanese, Chinese, Filipino, it doesn't matter. Everybody's numbers are based on what white people's are. And they shouldn't be. Why? Because we're not the same. So what is normal for them is not normal for me. Or any black person for that matter. Or any Oriental person for that matter. Or Spanish, or whatever the case may be. Now again, this is not something that they told me, as I mentioned before in other videos talking about this, which is why I have encouraged everyone to be your own best advocate. I did the research. That's how I found out that our numbers are different. And for that reason, they're going to reflect differently. What they're showing, that my numbers are off by about 1,500. According to their guideline. But the reality is my numbers are normal. So, with all that said, as I've stated, my current weight is 135, and you might say, well, what is your goal? Where are you trying to go? At this point, I want to, some might say, this is maintenance, meaning I want to maintain. I don't necessarily need to lose more weight. As I said, between 130 and 135. For me, I'm happy with that. But I have to maintain it. How do I do that? By continuing to do what I am doing. Before I ever gave myself one shot, I was very much aware that once I started this, I would have to continue to do it if I wanted to maintain. I came into this knowing that it wasn't like any other process that I've ever done, that once I started it, I would have to keep doing it. Now I know there are people who have done it and I've seen some of the videos. This is where I'm at 2 years after Ozempic. And they talk about how much weight they gained back. You have to keep taking the shots. You have to. Now, I'm at a point now where I don't know how long insurance is going to continue to pay. I don't. They may, after this run of prescriptions, they may say, no, I don't know. I hope they won't, because I do need to continue to do it. Why? So that I can maintain my weight. Does that mean I'm getting a free pass and so now all of a sudden I can eat whatever I want? I've never been able to eat whatever I want. Ever. Never. Ever. No. My body won't allow me to. It never has. I've always had sensitivities to certain things, even as a kid. So, no, I don't have a free pass. I can't eat whatever I want to eat. No, I can't. I never will be able to. The habits that I have developed, I will keep them. Why? Because they're healthy habits. They're good for me. When I say that, what do I mean? I mean that I will continue to prep. I will continue to, when I go in the grocery store, the first place I go is to produce. That's the first place I go. It's the produce department. So, with that in mind, I've talked about where I started, what my weight is currently, my BMI, and that's body mass index. And you say, well, what does that mean? That means how much of my weight is fat. That's what it means. That's how, when they're trying to determine if you can have bypass surgery, what your numbers are considered, how do they consider you obese? The number keeps changing, by the way. Last time I checked, the number that they considered obese was 25. Now, my number right now is 24. See how that is? How can they say that at the weight I currently am is, if I gain 10 pounds, they're calling that obese? That doesn't make sense. But that's my BMI today. And my bust, because there are two measurements, here, under the boob, and across the top of the boob. And so here, I am 31 here. And here, I'm 35. I'm looking at my notes because I have 32 here. Why? Because when I bought this new wardrobe, and I went to buy bras, my bra now is a 32. That's a 32. My waist is 27. My hips, which have completely surprised me. When you are a person who carries the bulk of your weight in the waist, in the hip area, you think, I'll never lose that. I'll always have it. I was looking at a photo the other day, because I've talked about this in a video before, about this pink leather pantsuit I had. That was my goal. That was the outfit I had purchased. I wanted to get into that. And that was a size 12. That was my goal. And I was ecstatic when I got there. But I was a lot younger, and that was the goal. But now I'm much older. As I stated, I just had a birthday on the 16th of December, and I'm 68. So that weight, you don't carry it the same way. And you can't carry a lot of weight. It's just so unhealthy. So with that in mind, my hips now, and I can't believe it, my hips now are, my hips are 39. And in the lower part of my hip area, I never thought I'd see that, 36. What size do I wear? Of course, small here. This is small. And like, for example, in a dress, I wear a small. In a suit, for example, something that would have a jacket and pants, I'm in a 6. No, I can't believe it either. I wear a size 6. I don't need to be smaller than this. I don't. As far as my measurements, my inches, which I just stated what my measurements are, I have lost a total of 46 inches. That's, if I add up all the numbers based on where I started and where I'm at today, and I've lost the most weight in my hip area. How else could I get it in a size 6 pants? Yeah. My hip area when I started was 50. I know I've got numbers here, but it says that's what they were. My high hip area, meaning, as I mentioned before, here my hip area is 39. And in the lower, it's 36. So if you subtract where I started, which was 55 to 39, that's 16 inches. And in the lower hip area, when I started, it was at 53 inches. That's what my hip area was. And now my hip area is 36. So as I stated, with all these, if you add the numbers, I lost 7 inches across here. I lost 6 inches in my waist, 16 inches in my higher waist, lower waist, I lost 17 inches. When you add all those numbers up, I lost a total of 46 inches. That's amazing. That's amazing. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. No, I can't believe it. But it's true. So, I went to therapy today, and I almost didn't go. Not because I didn't need to go or want to go, but I was in a lot of pain. And I was totally stressed out because the past few days I have been on the phone with my insurance carrier and doctors, and it's just been crazy. And for that reason, I said, you shouldn't go. But I said, it's so important for you to go. And I've stated this before in a video. I am no different than anybody else when it comes to that whole physical therapy thing. But you know what I came to realize? When I started physical therapy last year, excuse me, I was very apprehensive. I'm like, man, this stuff doesn't work. But with me in doing Ozempic and going to physical therapy twice a week, and as I've mentioned before, my therapist ends my sessions with a massage and a heat blanket. So I feel like I'm at a spa. For me, it's such a treat to go in there and work up a good sweat doing my routine exercises that have been determined based on my injuries. I don't know if injury is the right word, but I'll use it for now. Based on my issues, they've developed various exercises for that. So this is only for 1 hour. 1 hour. 1 hour. You go in there, you work as hard as you can. You don't push yourself too hard. And I should have saved this for another video. I'll end that here, and I'll talk about it in another video. But the point is, it was important for me to give you my Ozempic update. And again, I'll continue to do that because, as I've stated before, the closer you get to your goal, in my mind, I'm speechless because I can't believe it. Because I had a suit in there, a pantsuit, dress suit, and the pants were really tight. Leather pants, actual leather pants. I couldn't button them. And see, that's the difference. When you get really close to a weight, that's when the 2 or 3 and the 5 pounds, when you're big, really big, like I was, that amount of weight wouldn't do a thing. Losing 2 or 3 pounds or 5 pounds wouldn't make a bit of difference. But when you get this size, when you get to be this size, when you get this size, it makes all the difference in the world. Doing this for y'all so you can see. So you can see. You see how my body My body has a swerve. You see that? This is what I'm talking about. This is the scoliosis that I have talked about. This is my bariatric scar. It doesn't end right there. It starts up here and it goes down. See these? I don't know if you can see them. This is where the tube was at over here. But anyway, enough about that. The point is, I wanted to show you guys what's up. Where I'm at. So this is it. Of course, these are small. And as you know, these kind of workout pants, they really compress you. So they'll hold you in. These are great because they have pockets. I know you're like, where is a pocket at? They're inside here. See that? See that? That's where you put a little whatever you got. That's a pocket. There's also one in the back. See, there's a zipper. See that? And that's just for putting little things, like if you're working out and you want to keep whatever it is you have with you. So yeah, they're great. And see that? Now, am I saying, oh my God, oh, my stomach is not flat? You know what? This is about as flat as it's going to get. This is 68 years old, and I am so proud of me. I am so proud of me and what I have accomplished in my life. So, am I surprised about this in this area? What all this looks like? No, because for me, this area didn't have far to go. This area has always, if you go back and look at my videos, you will see that this area was always narrow. I have a long neck. That's how I'm made. So it wasn't as if I carried a lot of fat in here. I didn't. I never have. But yes, it is very noticeable. This is all very noticeable that you can see my collarbone and all that. It's all very noticeable. You can see it. And yes, I'm very much aware of what's going on here. But you know what? For me, that is a small price to pay. So I want you guys to leave your comments if you have questions about any of this. Please leave your comments. That's one of the reasons I'm doing this, because there's so many of us out there who have questions and you don't really know where to get the answers. I had gastric bypass and I have been successful with Ozempic. So I'm ecstatic. I'm very happy. And I don't know what else I can say. This is Alice at Wonderland Speaks. Please like, subscribe, and click the notification bell so you'll know when I'm putting out content. And Jesus Christ. Yeah, whenever I look at myself in the mirror, I'm always looking at how crooked I am here, how my body goes to the left. Why? Because I have scoliosis. That's why. So I would say if I can live with it, you can certainly bear to look at it. So I am the one who is still adjusting to what this means to me, to my body, to everything. You know, I'm still adjusting because this is new for me. I didn't just get it this week, last week. It's been noticeable, I would say, the past couple of years. But with the weight loss, it has made it more pronounced. It had no impact on it The scoliosis was diagnosed when I was really young. One might say, well, why didn't your parents do something about it? It's nothing like it is now. You don't know what to do. People didn't know what to do. So this is the hand I've been dealt. I thank God every day. Every day. So again, this is Alice at Wonderland Speaks. I'm happy. I'm excited. And I hope you guys will check out this video. There's certainly a lot of useful information. And I will see you in the next video.